I was delighted when I saw that an evening with C.S. Lewis was on the schedule of the Playhouse at Westport Plaza. Lewis was one of my idols when I was a graduate student in English. I doubted, however, whether the Westport would find an audience for the one-man show by David Payne. I could not have been more wrong. An extra performance had to be added to meet the need for tickets. On opening night, the house was full and the audience was rapt. What I did not take into account is that Lewis is much better known for his extracurricular activities than for his day job teaching literature at Oxford and then Cambridge. He reached a worldwide audience as the author of the Chronicles of Narnia, the Screwtape Letters, and many other books on Christian themes. The story of his late life marriage was told in William Nicholson's Shadowlands. The 1985 teleplay was adapted into a successful stage play and later into a popular feature film. The stage play started the chain of events that led to an evening with C.S. Lewis. David Payne tried out for a part in a 1996 production of Shadowlands because the audition notice said, "British accents help." Payne has one, and he got the lead part even though he had had no previous experience as an actor. Payne's affinity for the role of Lewis was clear. He followed up on Shadowlands by adapting a script of his own from A Grief Observed, Lewis's memoir of the period following his wife's death. Question and answer sessions after this one-man show prompted Payne to create another one, An Evening with C.S. Lewis, in which Lewis himself speaks about pivotal events of his life. The premise is that Lewis is receiving a group of visiting American authors at his home in Oxford. He speaks to them. They remain silent, but why would anyone interrupt a raconteur like Lewis as portrayed by Payne? His thoroughly convincing Lewis is formal but affable, self-assured but not full of himself, earnest but not without a sense of humor. In the first act, Lewis tells of his upbringing in Belfast, the tragedy of his mother's death when he was only 9 years old, his loss of religious faith, and his return to Christianity when he was at Oxford. One of the key figures in the reemergence of Lewis's faith was a friend described as a scholar specializing in Anglo-Saxon who shared Lewis's passion for Norse mythology. This friend, of course, was J.R.R. Tolkien, the author of The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. The second act focuses on Lewis's marriage. A letter from an American admirer led to an intellectual friendship, then a marriage of convenience that blossomed into deep love. His wife's death from cancer was a crushing blow. Payne's script and his performance are equally compelling. His portrayal of Lewis's emotions are pitch perfect throughout. The only surprise for me at An Evening with C.S. Lewis was how much I was caught up in a story I know so well.
Interesting. Yes, well, and he does it very well. He made marvelous use of pauses as he was telling the story on it. So
it was
very well done.
Yeah, he really did seem to fit completely into the part.